Live.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jay King. Welcome to Jay King Live, Straight No Chaser. we got a show tonight. Darryl James is my guest, and if his name sounds familiar to you, because if you know the publication Rap Sheet, he was the publisher of that magazine, which was in the 80s and the 90s. Really was a big magazine in the music industry. He was and he did some and said some very controversial things there. He's an author. He's a blogger. He is an activist, and he's a black nationalist. And today we're going to have a conversation about a lot of things, everything from being about black nationalists to Donald Trump's 10-point plan to Kamala Harris and a whole lot more. You're going to get a chance to hear Darryl James, straight, no chaser.
Jay King Live.
Straight, no chaser.
Jay King Live.
Straight, no chaser.
Straight, no chaser. Straight, no chaser. Straight, Jay King Live.
Good evening, everybody. I'm only gonna laugh because this is probably going to be the most explosive show as far as information is concerned. Because Darryl James, if you listen to me on Kings in the Morning, you know how outlandish we can get on Kings in the Morning, where Darryl James is that times 10. And we're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight. And Mr. James, I'm glad to have you here. A single father, brought his son with him, and you know, came here from LA to be on the show, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me, brother. I appreciate the conversations that we have, and even when we're divergent, our foundation is mutual respect and love for our people.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you.
And so I want to get right into it. You are a black nationalist.
Yes.
So when I hear people say, I'm a black nationalist, it is equivalent to a white person saying that they're a white nationalist, and it's rooted in racist and bigoted ideas.
That's a common perception, but it's actually a misperception. Nationalism is not a bad thing. Even when white people are practicing nationalism within the white community, it's not a bad thing. Nation building is what we should be about, meaning that we should be about our people. And that's not a bad thing. White people should be about white people, preserving and protecting and promoting themselves. Nationalism becomes a bad thing when white people take white nationalism to mean I hate other people. And that's not what black nationalism is. I don't hate anybody. I don't really care what they do. I'm focused on what black people do. And that's black nationalism.
So white folks say, you know what, you got these black nationalist groups, these black racists, they're prejudiced towards white people, but black people are killing each other. And they don't say anything about that. What are they going to do about that?
Well, and that's silly too, because, you know, people say black on black crime. And that's goofy because crime is really about proximity. It's not about race unless you're white trying to hunt black people down. Then it's about race. But black people aren't doing that.
But I mean, so you're saying that black people don't try to hunt?
I'm saying that everyone does. That everyone, people, 85% of all white people who are murdered by white people.
But you said it's only when white people are trying to hunt black people down. I think
that's what makes it racist.
Well, but I think in the other way around, if black folks are trying to hunt white people down, it's racist.
Which we don't.
No, you can't say that.
I mean, we don't to the degree that they hunt us down.
But when it happens, it's the same racist behavior. If a black person is hunting down a white person,
Then that's racist.
and if
Absolutely.
or any other person for that matter.
Well, that doesn't make it racist.
No, I'm-
Just because they're trying to kill someone.
No,
Black people shooting black people
No, what I'm
isn't
saying,
really racism.
right? But what I'm saying is if a black person is trying to hunt down anybody outside their race, or anybody outside their race is trying to hunt down other people,
That's racist.
okay. So I just want to get that out the way, and the reason why I wanted to get past that first is because I don't want people to have a negative connotation of you being
A black
nationalist.
Well, and I appreciate that, because most people don't understand what a black nationalist is, and that's why they conjure up all of these, oh, he must hate this people, hate this group of people. That's just not true. I mean, black people are the most loving people on the planet. So if we start talking about loving ourselves, people want to make that a bad thing.
Right.
But it's okay to love everybody else.
Speaking of black people, Kamala Harris, a black woman, is
Really?
on the ticket.
A black woman?
So
Go ahead.
no. So and I know that when Kamala became a senator, she called
She
herself.
identified as an Indian. Her press release, now I'm not making this up, her press release literally said the first Indian senator, not first black, not first Jamaican, the first Indian senator. And now she's identifying now with her sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha. That's my sister's sorority. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, Dr. King's fraternity. I was around Kamala. I have a tattoo, and I had short sleeves. She saw it. She didn't give a damn. But suddenly, she's an AKA, she's a bison, I'm standing in front of Howard. She's an opportunist, man. That's what she is. That's her race.
So why do you think the Democratic Party, which had Susan Rice, Stacey Abrams,
Elizabeth Warren, even if they...
I'm saying just
other
Val
black-
Deming,
Yes, other black women. Yeah.
Karen Bass,
Yeah.
all African American women. Why would they pick Kamala?
Because there's an agenda, and that agenda...
Kamala. Is it Kamala or Kamala?
I don't
Kamala.
really-
It's Kamala.
It could be Karen. but the point is, there's an agenda, and the agenda is about the benign neglect of black people, the manipulation of black people. And she does it well, because they put a black face on her, said this is a black woman, and black women got into a lather, and a lot of black men started following. But I can't be fooled, man. I know she doesn't like me, and I don't like her either. It's pretty simple.
And why do you say she doesn't like black men?
Well, Kamala set a record when she was Attorney General for the number of black men that she put in jail, and she was proud of that. We had a situation where nationwide people wanted to reduce the prison population by dealing with early release of non-violent offenders. She shut that down. She literally said out of her mouth, she said, the prisons need that free labor, and I'm not going to let them go. And I was like, is this thing on? Is anybody listening to this woman? Because it came out of her mouth. She also went on the Breakfast Club, brother, and they asked her about a black agenda. She literally said, conjured up all the Shaniqua sister girls she had. I'm not going to do anything specifically for black people. And she said it with such venom. I was like, I get it. You don't like me. I don't like your ass either. It's pretty simple for me.
So why do you think they picked her?
Because Kamala Harris looks good. She's a pretty woman. And if you call her black and you stick her in front of black people who are political children, then it works. And it worked.
Why do you call them political children?
Because my son, who is 13, knows pretty much as much or maybe even more than most black Democrats, because they don't really understand how politics work. Look, Jay, we haven't gone to a president since Kennedy to ask for anything. We don't make any demands. We didn't ask Clinton for anything. We didn't ask Obama for anything. And we didn't ask Trump for anything. And my thing is, however you feel about that person in the White House, That's our president because this is our country. This is my country.
Right.
Because my people built this for free.
That's right.
And so I have a right to tell any president, this is what I need you to do for me. But we don't. Won't ask
So-
for anything.
Biden or Trump?
Left wing, right wing, same bird. They both hate me, and I hate both of them.
So you say it's your country. You say that if they're the president, there needs to be an ask.
Right.
Who do you think would give you, or even give you an audience for your ask? Which one do you think would do it first, and which one do you think would be most likely?
And this is where a lot of people will get confused with me calling myself a black nationalist, because I think we got more of a chance with Trump than with Biden. I really don't think anybody's going to do anything, because we're really not going to. We're just now getting to the point where there's a groundswell of people, black people, who are starting to talk about making demands of a president. But we're not there yet. We're just getting there. But I think Trump would have been more open than Biden ever will be.
Why?
Well, because Trump, to be honest, brother, when he was elected, he was looking for an audience. He didn't really have, or not even before he was elected, even when he was running, he didn't really have an audience identified. He wasn't really a politician. He wasn't really this guy who said, let me go get these two-teeth cousin lovers and make them my people. He was searching, and he looked for us. But we dissed him because we said, oh, he's racist. My thing is, they're all racist. They're all racist. But see what you can get. We need to be asking, and we didn't ask him for anything. And so he said, okay, let me move on to the people who they're going to support me.
So Donald Trump had a 10-point plan for Black America.
Yes, sir.
He had a 10-point plan. Nancy Pelosi told the Congressional Black Caucus not to meet with Donald Trump. What do you say to that?
I think that the Congressional Black Caucus was in derelict of duty. I think they're a bunch of slaves, a bunch of sellouts, because how does a white politician dictate to these children? That's why I call black political activists children, because they shouldn't have been able to listen to her. She shouldn't have been able to tell them, don't listen to him. That's like the high school bully telling you, oh, don't like those people. She bullied them. And they said, okay. And when he asked that reporter about the CBC and said, do you know them? People said, oh, he was being racist. No, he wasn't. He was being stupid, because he doesn't know how politics work. He didn't know that as the president, he could have just picked up the phone and said, y'all come over here and meet with me.
Right.
But he didn't know.
Because we'll say that Donald Trump isn't a politician. He don't understand politics. And then when he does things that proves that he's not a politician and he doesn't understand politics, we get mad at him.
And act surprised.
Let's so the 10-point plan, you got it over there too.
Yes, sir.
So some of this stuff Donald Trump is doing.
Let me tell you, brother, when I got to the part where he talked about protection from illegal immigration, blew my mind. Why? Because black people, we're children again. We don't really understand how a lot of things work. We just react emotionally. They tell us there's a black-brown unity, and we don't understand that they don't have unity for us. Why do we have unity for them? When they came in and took those jobs, we were on those jobs. But what's their slogan? We took the jobs the blacks didn't want. We were on those jobs when they came in and took them for $3 an hour. Now, that's not me hating illegal immigrants. That's me saying my people are the hardest working people on the planet. We built an entire country for free. We are the architects of math and science, of civilization. How did we get to be labeled lazy?
But do you think that we become as prejudiced in our thinking of people that come into the country that are escaping horrible conditions, sometimes conditions that the U.S. government helped create?
Well, yeah, that part is true. But the problem is that illegal immigrants who don't look like us have gotten an easier time to come into the country, but illegal immigrants who look like us, I mean, remember the boat people, man. that was crazy. You know, they were trying to come over here from Haiti, and they got sent back into the water.
So don't you think that instead of us putting them all, saying they're all, because I think sometimes my issue is when anybody puts all of anybody in something, I have a problem with it. So if somebody make all white people bad, I have a problem with that.
Right.
You know, the same way I would have if a white person said all black people were criminals. Anytime all of anything is the conversation, it's a problem for me.
Yeah, and I'm with you, which is why I don't say all illegal immigrants, because some of them are black. But we know which ones we're talking about.
But I'm saying even some of the brown ones they're not all hateful or ugly or negative.
I wouldn't say that either. But what I would say, when you talk about it, you know, his number 7, protection from illegal immigration, I would say that illegal immigration in general has harmed us, because it has taken jobs
and
from us.
a lot of illegal immigrants come into this country, come into our neighborhoods, and there's another word that they rather use than illegal immigrant. I can't remember. I can't recall the word right now, but I'm sure somebody out there is going to tell me what that word is. You know, and I because I don't want to be hateful towards anybody.
Sure.
But I also don't want people coming into my community being hateful towards me.
Because that's happening.
And a lot of times, a lot of those folk come into our neighborhoods, infiltrate our neighborhoods because those are low income neighborhoods or the marginalized communities.
Yeah.
And then and they overrun them and with their culture.
Yeah. I mean, right now, you know, we see that a lot of black people are going into Compton and Watts, for example, to look at homes, and they're getting shot at. They're getting shot at by Hispanics who are saying, this is ours. How did it get to be yours, homie? Right? How did it get to be yours to the point where you would harm me? So that stuck out. I'll tell you what else I thought was beautiful when you start talking about equal justice under the law.
Yeah. No two-tier justice system.
That is powerful. Powerful.
So if you look at these 10 points,
Yes.
what of these 10 points do you think Donald Trump has actually made good on?
See, now that would be a tough one, because I think that some things that he's actually done can be looked at both ways. But I think that he has tried to make trade work for American workers. I think he's tried to do that, although people say erasing NAFTA, you know, was a problem. But I think number 6, I think he really tried to do that. I think he really tried to do number 5, financial reforms to expand credit to support new job creation. You know, but almost everything can be looked at, you know, from two sides. I don't think, and I'm going to say this as a black nationalist, I don't think that he has hurt us as bad as people are pretending that he has. I just don't think so. Now, has he, you know, given us reparations? No. Is he racist? Yes. You know, but I don't think that, you know, I'm not afraid of him. Let me say that. In 2016, when I knew that he would be elected, because I knew it, I wasn't afraid.
Are you afraid of Biden?
I'm not afraid of anybody. Because I don't care who's president, I'm going to thrive, I'm going to raise my son, and I'm going to make money.
Okay, but you said, you know, I'm not afraid of him. So if you had your choice,
yeah, between Trump and Biden,
is it a Biden-Harris presidency you're looking at, or a Trump-Pence?
That's hard to choose, man, because you're asking me to choose between the devil and Mephistopheles. And I mean, because, you know, Biden is a racist. He hates me. Kamala hates me. So I don't know. I think, you know, Biden, Harris, they're more presidential, so we may get Curry a little more favor on the world stage. But I think, you know, that the you know, to say that they would actually be better for me as a black man or for my community as black people, I don't know that that's true. So I don't know that I would choose one and be happy.
Okay, so turn this camera over to me. This one right here. So So I know that you all are, people are asking about the 10-point plan. So I'm just gonna run through the 10-point plan without the definitions. I'm just gonna tell you. Number one is a great education through school choice. He's for, homeschooling. He's for, he funded the historic black colleges more than any president before him.
Yes, sir.
He's for magnet and private schools and charter schools. He's for all that. He wants to build safe communities. That's number two. He says that every poor African American child must be able to walk down the streets in peace. Safety is a civil right. Equal justice under the law is number three. Will apply the law fairly, equally, and without prejudice. There will only be one set of rules, not a two-tiered justice system. We're going to get a chance to see that in these next things as it relates to George Floyd and other folks.
Yes.
Tax reforms to create jobs and lift up people in communities. We'll lower the business tax from 35 to 15%, bring thousands of new companies to our shores. Financial reforms to expand credit to support new job creation, which you said you said number 6. That's number 5. Number 6, trade that works for American workers.
Yes.
We'll stop massive chronic trade deficits that have emptied our jobs.
been
We won't
killing
let our
us.
jobs be stolen from us anymore. Protection from illegal immigration. You called that out. So we'll restore the civil rights of African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and all Americans by ending illegal immigration. No group has been more economically harmed by decades of illegal immigration than low-income African American workers. A new infrastructure investment. We will leverage public and private partnerships. And I want to talk about that because just imagine if we were at the table and with this plan when the pandemic hit and $2.2 trillion is on the table. Instead of the Congressional Black Caucus being able to shore up $10 million for 2.6 million African American businesses, which is less than $4 a business, maybe we could have got some hundreds of billions of dollars. And maybe this is where the new infrastructure investment could have happened because the pandemic really put a pause on America. And all these other things happened because of George Floyd, but that's number 8. Number 9, protect the African American church. We will protect religious liberty, promote strong families, and support the African American church. And 10, America First foreign policy. We will stop trying to build democracies overseas, wasting trillions of dollars, but focus on defeating terrorists and putting America first. That is Donald Trump's 10-point plan. And you guys can find it where?
That was on defendernetwork.com.
Yeah, defendernetwork.com. You can find the Donald Trump 10-point plan, defendernetwork.com. I think we have to take a break here. We're gonna come right back, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter, the marginalization of black men, financial literacy, John Lewis, and blacks in politics. You're listening to J. King Live, straight, no chaser. We'll be right back.
The quality of your life, we've got you.
Want your high school diploma? We got you.
Want to obtain your Class A driver's license?
Or study to become a medical assistant?
Want to learn to work with children?
Or be prepared to work in an office setting? We got you.
Need childcare? We got you.
Need help with transportation?
Is independent study a better option for you?
We got you.
Improve the quality of life for you and your family. And remember, we've got you.
Okay, so we're back, and I told you guys, and we're just getting started. On Facebook one day, because I was seeing white people say, "All lives matter," and I couldn't understand why white folk would say all lives matter, as though we didn't know that. And then I realized that they weren't really talking to me. They were talking to the Black Lives Matter movement. And so I went on my page and said, Black Lives Matter, the statement, and Black Lives Matter, the movement, are two different things. As a community, we're saying to America, we want our lives to matter. So we shouldn't be able to watch any man die right in front of our eyes with another man's knee in his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That should never be able to happen in a country as civilized and as industrious as these United States of America. And so we thought saying our lives matter meant something. But then this movement happened, this Black Lives Matter movement, which really isn't about Black Lives Mattering. It's about something totally different. And so I said, Black Lives Matter, the movement, and Black Lives Matter, the statement, are two different things.
Absolutely.
How did the statement, Black Lives Matter, get convoluted with this movement that really is about the LGBTQ community,
yes, it is.
Being a Marxist, and movement, organization, same thing to me. The Black Lives Matter organization, I said movement, and organization. No, neither one of them.
Well, the movement, I don't have a problem with. Because the movement is young people who are saying defiantly, look at me, my life matters. That organization is some trash that some lesbians got together and co-opted using black men's dead bodies to make their point, to make their bones. That's my distinction.
Okay.
That's my distinction.
And I guess that's why Keisha came and said movement versus organization. Because to me the organization is the movement. Because when I look at all the Black Lives Matter things on the football fields, on the basketball jerseys, we're not benefiting from that.
Well, some of it's propaganda. We benefit from propaganda. So we benefit, and not propaganda in a bad way. We benefit from statements that are being made on our behalf.
So when I say we're not benefiting, financially, there's no benefit for us. The benefit is for the organization.
Yeah.
The organization is getting financially compensated.
Absolutely. That's why I said the organization is trash.
Yeah.
George Soros gave these chicks a bunch of money, and here's how it's also hurting black people. Our relationships are already in jeopardy, right? And so now you have these black women who don't even like black men because they don't date us. They're lesbians. That doesn't mean, that we don't like them as people, but they don't like us, right? But now here's some other fallout. Now they're starting to say, see, black women are protecting black men. And I'm like, shut the hell up, because that's not what that is. Because you're not going out there and you didn't go and save George Floyd. You're not saving black men. You're standing up using these dead black men's bodies to further your cause. So organization versus movement. The movement I don't have a problem with. Right. There are a lot of young brothers and sisters out there, but that organization keeps trying to co-opt.
And I say the statement I don't have a problem with. I think the young people are standing up for the statement.
Yes,
and the organization is making this movement and destroying the statement and the stance of young people. That's just how I see it.
They definitely are. They're tarnishing it. They're tarnishing the statement and they're tarnishing the movement. But they are separate because there are people out there who have nothing to do with those chicks. Those chicks show up and no one cares.
Antifa. So what's Antifa's connection to BLM, if any?
I don't know, because they don't represent me. So okay. Neither organization represents me.
So I read something on your page one day that I thought was the most hilarious thing. It was a woman that you'd worked with, and she was a lesbian, and you just called her out on your page, and you just read her from head to toe.
Yeah.
And you said that and then you said that that whatever conversation they had, it was about black men beating up on gay or trans men in communities, and you said, I have never seen it.
Yes, sir.
And you know, and I had never, and I haven't seen black men beating up on trans men. I haven't seen that. And they were saying that it was this issue, this big problem that was happening in our community.
Because it goes back to Black Lives Matter. These are people in the LGBT who are trying to co-opt whatever activism we may have. And that's why I say the black men have to speak for themselves, because we're not as homophobic as people say we are. We're just not. We're not running around beating up trans women, trans men, homosexuals, gays, lesbians. That's not who black men are. And that's why I took her to task, because I knew she was a lying demon. She was lying. Because, come on, dude, we're over 30 years old, and we walk through this country, and we've never seen black men chasing anybody from the LGBT to beat them up. That means it's not really happening that much. That's what it means.
So why are people making up these scenarios and or these narratives?
Well, because you have baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, Chevrolet, hate black men. These things are all foundational as far as America is concerned. And so when you have anything that you're trying to do, you can capitalize on hating black men, and you can do whatever with propaganda to twist it and pretend black men hate you and pretend you're a victim, and people are going to believe it because we're the boogeyman.
Well, no, Donald Trump's the boogeyman.
Well, we're still the boogeyman.
No,
he's just another boogeyman. We still the boogeyman.
I was just joking. So you and I were talking, and you said one of your biggest concerns is the marginalization of black men.
Yes, sir.
By black women.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Which isn't very popular to say, but it's running rampant. Which is why our marriage rate is in the toilet. It's why we don't have sustainable relationships, and so everything is blamed on us. So look, man, you got single mothers who say, I'm a victim because the man wasn't around. But if you go to family court, guess what you're going to see? You're going to see men in there fighting for custody. You see separate court. You see the court where they're fighting to not have to pay as much child support, but they're also in court fighting for custody. I got full custody. I got full custody. There's a lot of men these days who are getting full custody. We see athletes, entertainers who are saying, well, if you can't afford the kid, I'm going to keep him, right? But the narrative is still the deadbeat dad.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's been there so long, and people benefit from it. And so if you have these single women, and this is where women say, oh, you hate black women. I'm like, no, I hate you. Take it personally. It's not all women. But you have women who have made some horrible choices in their lives. And instead of saying, you know what, I made bad choices, they say, no, it's because of black men. They're beneath my level. They're this, they're that, they're deadbeat. And I'm like, really? All of us?
Well, you'd be hard-pressed to find a black woman who would take a man with a menial job, say working at McDonald's, a janitor, or something with other children.
Yeah.
And if she was single with no children,
good job.
in a good job, or she's a professional job,
yeah.
You'd be hard pressed to find her with him.
That's right.
But the other way around, you'll find a man who's a professional,
all day, every day.
Meets a woman with a menial job, who might have 2 or 3 children,
yeah.
2 or 3 babies' fathers, but he'll see some value in her.
Well, because men still look at women and look at their value outside of the physicality. Even though they say that that's what we do, we don't. We're still looking at, their internal value. But all we hear, of course, this isn't all black women, but the popular narrative right now is to view the black man as an ATM. Women over 40 are looking for providers. That tells me you have failed in life if you need a provider. And that's why my running joke, I said, well, I already have a little broke buddy who doesn't have a job and likes to do nice things and spend money. It's my child. And so these women are infantilizing themselves. Like, really? You want a provider? So all the mess that we've been hearing, Jay, for decades about the independent woman, I got my own, I don't need a man, men are beneath my level. Now, you want a provider? I can't make it make sense. Little blue-eyed baby Jesus can't make it make sense. Because it's nonsense, man.
So what do you say about women now that say, you know, they have to date out of their race because there just aren't any more good black men?
Well, first off, it's a lie. It's because the good black men don't want those women. That's really what it is. There's no shortage. So let's talk about the three things that make them say there's a shortage, that we're with white women. 95% of all black men who are married to black women. They talk about, oh, all these black men are in prison. And you got the myth of the more black men in prison than college, but you've got 1.3 million in college, somewhere around 800,000 in prison, right? Nobody does the numbers, they just blurt some stuff out. But there are 21 million black men in America. Less than 1 million are in prison, right? So what's the other one they say? Prison, and then they say gay. 15% of the entire population is homosexual. They're not all in the black community. They're not. And some of them are female. Right. So all of these things that they create, and then they mythologize themselves. More of us are making more money than black men in what country? In Keokuk, Iowa? That's a real place, by the way. So I went to school in Iowa. So I'm like, is that where you're making more money than us? Because when you look at and this comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a government agency that does the research, that's what they do. There's a hierarchy as far as who's making the most money. White men are at the top, black men are up under them. Hispanic women are at the bottom, black women are just above them. How did they get to the point where they start saying that they're making more money than us? No, you have more education than we do. And that hasn't translated to anything financial. Wow. Except debt. You got more student loans. But so our relationships have been propagandized, and we wonder why the marriage rate is in the toilet.
Financial literacy. We got 2 minutes, so we're gonna take the break. We're gonna come back. I just want to get. I say that if the African American community was more financially literate, we'd change 100 years in 10.
Oh my God, brother! Yeah, less than that. Less than that, because the people who would actually be changing more than anybody else are children. And I don't mean children, right. I mean people under 30. Okay. Because their life is in flux right now. And if we can actually take them and point them to something that's going to benefit them financially, whoo, man, they'll take over everything because they're not playing.
You're listening to J. King Live, Straight No Chaser. My guest is Darryl James. I believe we're going to come back, and whatever questions you have, Key Matthews is going to come here, and she's going to give them to us, and I'm sure there are going to be a lot of questions for you. We will be right back. I hope you guys are enjoying the show.
Change the quality of your life? We've got you.
Want your high school diploma? We got you.
Want to obtain your Class A driver's license?
Or study to become a medical assistant?
Want to learn to work with children?
Or be prepared to work in an office setting? We got you.
Need childcare? We got you.
Need help with transportation?
Is independent study a better option for you?
We got you.
Improve the quality of life for you and your family. And remember, we've got you.
Okay, so, you know, we stopped on financial literacy, and I just want to, a lot of what's happening in our community, you know, especially with COVID-19, once the economy paused, a lot of people saw it as a destructive thing. It was going to kill us financially. It was going to destroy America. But what it did for me, and I think for a lot of black folks who were trading in the market, was it made us realize what the benefit of being in the market was, because we all bought more stocks at dirt cheap prices. And in 3 weeks, they were back up again, and our a lot of our portfolios grew by 2,000 and 3,000%. So I believe that the one conversation that has to be had in our community over and over again, along with everything else, but the one main conversation that we have to have is the financial literacy conversation. We make up a little more than 1% of the market as investors, as folk who are speculating. I look. You have your 13-year-old son here.
Yes, sir.
My daughter is 17. When she turns 18, the first thing that I'm doing is getting her a trade account.
Powerful. Powerful.
Keisha, you got questions?
Jacqueline is asking from Facebook, if this 10-point plan is real, why are there no programs in place? Has any of this been put into real policies? The pandemic happened in year 4 of his present administration. He could have done something real. What he has done is to just campaign for the next term in office. This 10-point play is another lie.
Well, let me say this, Jacqueline. Unfortunately, your leadership, our leadership, wouldn't meet with the president.
Yes.
And so, you know, if I got something for you, but somebody in your family or somebody that's connected to you don't come see me so that you can get what I have for you, you can't get mad at me for not giving it to you. Donald Trump has done some things, and let me just say, just the fact that he had a plan, and I'm not a Donald Trump fan, or I'm not a Donald Trump supporter, but I'm a realist, and if I'm gonna be 100, I don't know if Barack Obama had a 1-point plan. So, go ahead.
He had a no-point plan.
Tanya from Facebook says, what jobs are illegal immigrants taking? Working in agriculture, domestic work, and other low-paying jobs that no one wants?
It's what was her name?
Tanya.
Tanya, that's an outright lie. First and foremost, those aren't jobs that no one wants. Someone was doing those jobs. And the someone that was doing those jobs was black people. We were picking cotton, and that's all people think about, but we were picking grapes. We were picking oranges. That was us doing that before they got here. And as far as cleaning toilets, my grandma, hell, my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, probably yours too, clean toilets. That's what they did. I don't understand where this whole idea of them taking jobs that nobody wanted when we were on the jobs when they got here and agreed to do it for $2 an hour. Let's keep it real.
Be more specific. In what way will the 10-point plan protect black people from illegal immigration?
Well, it's not a matter of what was the person's name?
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline, it's not a matter of what will it do, because it's not going to do anything now, but what it could have done is close the borders. Let's see, if you go to Mexico right now, you'll get arrested. You'll be thrown in jail, you'll be prosecuted and sent back to America. That's what will happen. But if you come from Mexico to the U.S., you get medical benefits, you get food stamps, you get to come to the black community and take jobs from black people.
Michael Brookins is asking, what do the fellas see as the #1 thing that can change the conditioned mindset that we as a people can do right now?
I think these kind of conversations have to be had in public forums, the way we're having them now. They're going to be uncomfortable in the beginning. I don't think we have to agree at 100% to have a conversation. I can't tell you that I agree with everything Darryl is saying, but I can tell you that I'm listening to him. And the parts that I agree with, I take and put them in my lexicon. The parts I don't, I get to debate them in my head or throw them away. But I think we have to have these kind of conversations. But again, the most important conversation that we have to have as a community, as far as I'm concerned, for us, is we have to start holding ourselves accountable for our financial literacy. We are the most financially illiterate people in the country, but we're the #1 consumer. We spend like crazy, and if we just matched our consumption with financial literacy by even 10 or 20%, it would be amazing what you'd see. It would spread like a fire. We go from 20% to 80% financial literacy, to me, in a matter of a few years.
So there are ladies asking on Facebook and Periscope, and this is a personal question for you. You don't have to answer if you don't want.
I'm sure I won't mind.
It's kind of two-sided.
Yeah.
They're asking if you're single, and they're saying that if you're married, you're not married to a black woman. They've sent some bitterness.
And I hate black women. I hate my mother. I have a white woman. My son is almost as dark as midnight.
Mm-hmm.
I think that should answer one of those questions. My mother was a black woman, and I've never dated outside the race. So all that mythology, just because I don't say the things that you want me to say, which I won't, because I love black women. Because I know that propaganda is manipulating black women into saying some of the most vile, ignorant things to drive black men away. When you start saying to us that you think we're in prison, gay, or with white women, you know, to answer these questions when I sat here and said I'm a black nationalist, and you still ask me if I'm dating black women, that's because so many of our sisters are under the influence of propaganda that is hurting you. You're drinking poison, hoping I'll die. And I won't.
Andre McDonald is saying and asking a question. We are experiencing a serious shift in this country and in the world. The question is, will the shift be for the greater good, for humanity, or will it only be for the upper class who have the capital to shift narratives and agendas?
We both chomping at the bit.
Let me say this, Andre, and I'm glad, man, it's late where you are. I think he's in North Carolina. That's on us. That's on human beings.
Yes.
Number one, we have to stop acting like we're only going to be poor, or that's our only option. So I don't think poor like that. I think I'm rich already. That my mind is fertile, and so I don't know anything that I can't do. So I think it is a shift. Interesting thing about, and so this is where I really believe in God. This is where I might get a little goofy even for Darryl here. I think there have been times in the world where the world was going to come to an end, and humanity had to do something profound, and God gave us a reprieve. And I think that's where we are again right now. We are in some profound times, and this is where humanity and human beings and the love of human beings for humanity are going to have to come together. So we're either going to destroy this planet and these meat suits as human beings with not just the pollution that we eat, but the pollution that we call words, the pollution that we call life, the pollution that we call rights. Because we're gonna just make this thing so ugly and nasty that it's just gonna throw up on itself. And yeah, we could end this whole experiment and start all over again. Or each of us can decide to be responsible for the shift that we want to see happen. So I say, you got to be the change you want to see in the world. You want the world to love more? Love more. You want the world to give more? Be a better giver.
I don't think that's goofy at all, brother. Now, while I'm not, you know, a staunch believer in, you know, the whole Christ and all of that, I am a man of God, and the way I view it is more of a spiritual situation. That souls don't dissipate; they only recreate in another space and time. Like when you fly. But I believe that though.
In another space and time.
But I believe that. I do
Yes.
think there is a shift coming, but I think that we have control. We just have to make some decisions. You know, I think black people have to make decisions about who we're going to be. We have to look, you know, the 7 principles of, you know, Kwanzaa. I mean, we look at self-determination. That's, you know, we got to be, you know, have collective, you know, economics. I mean, we have to make, you know, some determinations as black people and stop getting caught up in Democrat versus Republican. We got to decide this is who we are, this is what we want. Whoever's in the White House in 2021, this is what we want from them. They better give us this. And we got to start, black men got to stand up to black women. Those sisters asking me those questions, man, look, a lot of brothers are, well, I feel like, no, you tell them straight on, because they don't want these little wishy-washy, sissy-fied dudes. They need real answers. They need men who are going to stand up to them and tell them the damn truth, because that's how I was raised, by a community with men and women. I had not only my stepfather marry my mother and her children, but my dad was still cool with my mom. So all of this crap, all of this, you know, men got to stand up first to black women, then we stand together, and then we stand up against everybody else. That's what's got to happen during the shift.
Greg Horsley is asking, do you think this is the time to have financial literacy classes taught in schools?
Absolutely.
It's
I
been
mean,
the time.
it's been. I mean, I think this is where, and I think even if not in the schools, in our communities, this is where our leadership should speak to us about financial literacy. You know, other groups of people in their homes at the dinner table, they are prepping their kids. As a matter of fact, they're not buying their kids toys, they're buying their kids stocks. So they can transfer over at a certain time when they get to be of age. So whether we have financial literacy in school or not, we need to definitely have the conversation about financial literacy in our homes.
It needs to be more of our entire walk. You know, I'm doing a show, which, you know, hopefully will get picked up soon, a TV show, and it is literally about my life, a single father who was out there trying to date, and some of the, you know, the trials and tribulations. But one of the things that will be woven in there, messages of financial literacy, self-determination, politics, things that we should be talking about with our children in the ways that we should be talking about it. And I'm hoping that the show gets picked up, it becomes successful, that I become, in some ways, a modern Bill Cosby. Not with all the other stuff, but that show was powerful because we got to see this dark-skinned dude with some dark-skinned kids, a couple of them were light-skinned, but with some dark-skinned kids, and talking about, with his wife, come on, a doctor and a lawyer, talking about real things. That's what we got to get back to. Stop all the slapstick crap. Stop all the videos about WAP. And don't tell me I can't talk about it. Don't tell me I can't say Cardi B is a piece of trash. Don't tell me I can't talk about politics. Don't tell me what I can't talk about, because I can talk about everything, because I am about empowering my community. More of us have to use our voices. That's why I'm like, I'm proud of you, brother. And I was so excited when you asked me to be on this show, because this is the revolution, brother. Talking about the real topics that we need to deal with and disseminating information, man. Talking to people and giving them real information. You're revolutionary. You may not be a black nationalist, but you're revolutionary.
I'm a humanity nationalist. I believe I really, and let me just say that and people who knew me growing up know that I was part of I knew Oba Tashaka, Khalid Abdullah Mansour, Angela Love, Angela Davis. I mean, I was part of the Pan-African nation, and when I first got in the music business, I was very much a revolutionary. But you know, I'm not 18 or 28.
Yes.
I'm not 38 or 48. I'm 58 years old, and in my aging, I've learned that my fight is for humanity. And I have friends all different walks. I have friends that are billionaires. And I have friends that are zero heirs. They have nothing. But no one is greater than the other. I have friends that I agree with often, and I have some that I disagree with all the time. But I believe that that's where the humanity is. I have friends that are black as the ace of spades, is white as the color white, and everything in between. They're young and old, they're male and female, they're straight and gay. But I believe that's what makes a world. And so that's why, you know, listen, when I even listen to you as a black nationalist, I understand some of the, even as you spoke about, you know, how you saw it, you know, it's from a eyes of a black man. I'm a black man. I can't stop being a black man. When I'm in the room, oftentimes, especially in the business I'm in, I'm always the only black man in the room. Yeah. So I know being in that room, I know how qualified I am, probably more qualified than everybody in the room, and that's because my mama told me I had to be 10 times better to be equal. And I recognize that because it's the world we live in. Yes. And my job is to make humanity love itself, regardless of where it comes from, regardless of what it looks like, regardless of what color it is, or its financial outlook. Yes.
Greg Horsley is asking, do you think our political system needs to be reset?
Our political system needed to be reset 100 years ago. But I think this is where young people come in, Greg. And I think this is where these conversations come in. This is where a black nationalist and a humanity nationalist having a conversation comes in. Yeah. Because I think everybody has to be included in the conversation. When these conversations are being had, and only the smarty pantses are in the room because they're the smarty pantses, I think they leave out the real people that the change affects and that help make the change happen. And so that's why and I know that money is a great equalizer. That's why I don't want to be the only one in the room with a bunch of money. I think if everybody in the room got a bunch of money, now whatever issues we say we have that are financial, those issues are out the door. Now we're going to see what issues we really have. And a lot of times you're going to find out that the issue is you, the way you think, the limitations that you put on yourself, sometimes your own insecurities and lack of self-confidence. And those are the things that I think we have to build up in ourselves and in each other. So I'm gonna leave the last words to you, Darryl. Thank you for coming, and I appreciate the conversation, and I'm gonna turn it to you. How many minutes we got, cameraman? We got 2 minutes.
Well, you know, once again, thank you, brother, for having me here, having me a part of this discussion. I think that the most salient issues that we've touched on tonight are financial literacy, of course, but getting involved and disseminating information, man. Information is the revolution. We said a long time ago the revolution will not be televised, but it has to be because the revolution has changed.
That's right. So thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody. Good night. And John Beckman did not get a question in. So John, if you asked the question, that was on Key. Key Matthews, I think she's blocking you out because last time you said you didn't get a question. She said, that's not me. I just want you to know that. But next week, you guys, I have Mark Harris, the professor, is what they call him on KDEE Family Matters. He was in the Clinton. He was part of the Clinton cabinet. He worked with Ron Brown, and this brother is, you talking about somebody who's political and knows the landscape of politics. Mark Harris is one of those brothers. He's the most politically savvy people I know who hasn't run for office, which is interesting in and of itself. But he'll be here next week, and I hope you guys tune in from 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My name is Jay King. Good night. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Straight, no chaser.
Jay King Live.
Not straight, no chaser.
Jay King Live.